Welcome back, party people, with my Killer Tape at episode 76. We bring back the homie Shadow One. And we're going to talk about the MCU announcements made at the San Diego Comic-Con this year. Not only just the MCU, like the movies, but also the stuff that's going to be put on Disney Plus. Check it out. Where my Killer Tape at, B? Okay. Peace, party people. This is DanTresOmi, and this is where my Killer Tape at. Once again, I bring to you the wonderful Shadow One. If you're not following her, we actually cannot be friends. And she's a resident geek, and she knows her shit. So, how you doing?
I am good. I just want to put it out there. Thank you for inviting me again. But I don't want to save this to the very end. I want to let people know that I have a new Twitter because Twitter hated on me. And then I'll plug my other social media later. But my new Twitter, my old Twitter was One Shadow Love. My new Twitter is Go Big Girls Go. But it's Go Big, but girls is spelled with a U.
Okay.
Go. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. How Twitter did me. I got to go on a rant about that because they did me dirty.
Okay. All right. And I'm glad you're back. I'm glad I was able to find you. But your YouTube channel is still up. Am I correct?
YouTube is the same. Yes.
All right. Got you. We're gonna put all of that in the show notes. And you know, again, it's always dope to have you. And when I heard the announcements, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was like, I wonder what Shadow One is thinking. Like, I was really like, man, I wonder what she's thinking right now. Did she see it? Did she predict it? Et cetera, et cetera. So the first question we have for you is, out of all the announcements that they made at the San Diego Comic-Con this year for Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was probably had you the most excited?
You know what? It's going to be a shocker to a lot of people, but I'm actually really, really excited about the Doctor Strange.
Okay. Why so?
First of all, the title really just grabbed me. I never really cared about titles, but this one really intrigued me. But I'm like, wow, it literally says Doctor Strange, and then it said Multiverse of Madness, and I was like, wait a minute, what the hell? So that out of all those 11 announcements, that is the one I'm really hyped for. And, you know, after Infinity War, that's really when I started really liking Doctor Strange. And I like Doctor Strange in the comics, and I liked him in a lot of his animated, and I really liked his animated movie film, which is where I would like for this movie to go. I don't know if you've seen the Doctor Strange Nightmare animated film, but it is so good.
We're gonna get into what's gonna happen for Doctor Strange, because there's a lot more announcements that came out. I don't want to jump the gun.
Okay.
So, but I wanted to find out what you were. I was really curious at what you were excited about, and you're right. I am shocked. I am really shocked.
A lot of people are, because I tweeted it on my social media that is my number one most anticipated of the next phase.
Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go through each one blow by blow. I'm going to put the website on inverse.com that has the release dates. And I know out there's an actual timeline that you can actually pull up, and it'll actually have everything on one straight line. But this article that I'm putting it from has a little bit more details. So May 1st, 2020, Black Widow. What do you think? And real quick, let me just say this. David Harbour will be playing the Red Guardian.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's homie from Stranger Things. And then they actually have her arch nemesis from the comic books, Yelena. She's gonna be in there.
Right,
So
yeah.
and then I
And then she
heard
got something to do with
what was that?
she comes from the Red Room Comics. Um,
Yes.
oh girl, I forget her name.
And then they're saying they're gonna have Taskmaster. They haven't casted him yet. But
Oh, okay.
what do you think about this one?
All right. So my very first, before we got, San Diego Comic Con announcements, I did not care about a Black Widow movie. I was still gonna see it just
Yeah.
because I'm a fan and I have to stay in tune to what's going on. But I did not care about it. I was not like I was just like really neutral with it. Like, oh, okay, I'll rock with it. I'll watch it. But now that I'm hearing more details and kind of getting the cast rollout and things like that, and getting a little bit more background as I read and I listen to other YouTube channels, and getting the more of the dirt and the grit of everything. If they do this kind of like a James Bond dish spy thriller, where it takes me on a different ride than what her normal MCU, interaction is when she's a supporting character, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it because that's what I want to see. I want to see her on the level of really using tactic, being a really good spy, doing, her hand to hand combat and things, riding a motorcycle, jumping out of airplanes, whatever. Just, balls to walls action. I want to see that. And Scarlett Joe is a good person to do that. So that's kind of what I want to see. So I'm for it. I'm for it.
I'm like you. I wasn't excited. I was hoping they pick something else for the first movie in Phase Four. And like I really think ScarJo is kind of bland, but
Hmm.
I'm glad she got like a really tight supporting cast.
Right.
And I want to see the other elements that are around in the Red Room. They get into the Soviet Union. I really want to see those kind of things that I really enjoyed from the comic book.
Do
So
you think what do you think about it being set after Civil War and before Infinity War? I think that's a good time period. A lot of people is kind of boohooing about it, but I
yeah,
actually think that's a time we're not gonna get a lot of. So that the fact that they're giving us that, I want to know what she did once Civil War ended and before Infinity War. It'll kind of, to me, complete her arc. You know what I mean? Um,
I think there's gonna be a lot of flashbacks. I think there's gonna be a lot of flashbacks. And I don't have an issue of when it takes place.
mhm.
I'm just really curious at the elements they're gonna bring into it. That's what I'm really and I see it kind of like I kind of see it like a prequel to Civil War. Not like an exact prequel, but like all the things that happen there affect what happens in Civil War and Winter Soldier actually, like the stuff that affects the
Okay.
Winter Soldier. So I'm looking for that really. Um, so
Okay.
so I'm really curious about that. But if they gave me, I wasn't excited until they started throwing in the other cast members, and I was like, okay, like you, I'm gonna go see it because I'm a fan and I need to see it. So, all right.
Right.
The next thing we're going to talk about is what's going to come on Disney Plus, and they're supposed to start streaming that in November of this year. And I think it's going to be like $8.99. I'm not getting no money from this, but I am going to cop it.
Six
Um,
ninety nine.
$6.99. There you go. I am going to cop it. And it's in
Me
fall
too.
2020. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And Anthony Mackie will be playing Falcon slash Captain America, and then Sebastian Shaw, of course, will be back as Winter Soldier. And the new information is that Zemo is going to come back as the main villain. So,
This one in particular, I have no predetermined concept of what I want to see. I
mhm.
have no predetermined concept of what I don't want to see. I am just thinking I'm going to go into this fresh and really just be open minded to it.
Okay.
Now, what I am thinking is that it's going to be a game changer. people are calling these TV shows. I don't think they're going to be TV shows. I think these are going to be like mini movies
I agree.
because production budgets are going to be high.
Mm-hmm.
You have a film studio that's producing these. This is not television writers who are on television, the writers run the show. That's not how this is going. It's still Kevin Feige being the producer of those and hiring writers and getting directors. And I think this is going to change the game because has not been done before, where the TV or the streaming movies, because that's what I'm gonna call it. I call it streaming movie series, and then the theatrical releases kind of connect with one another.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
am just ready to see how this is gonna work because I think it's freaking genius.
I'm
I
glad
really
you
do.
I'm glad you pointed that out because the streaming wars have begun.
Yes.
They've begun, and I think I believe you. You're so right. I think that this one is going to be the one where we're going to see a lot of streaming apps lose
Yeah.
because of this, because the budget. Like Kevin Feige is bringing like a movie production style to the streaming apps, and you're right. I think it's gonna be a game changer. I think it really is. I'm excited, like how is this gonna change the game? But I agree with you 100%, 100%.
Yeah. Because let's think about it. When the last television pop culture epicness was Game of Thrones, right?
Yes, yes,
And I think Kevin Feige them knows this. This has been planned for years to come, and they knew that Disney Plus was coming, and they knew they had to be unique. Not, I mean, they got all that Disney content, but they still know this MCU is it's a force to be reckoned
yes,
with.
yes.
And how do you get us moviegoers? Because I'm a moviegoer all day. I'm not a streamer. I'll binge watch stuff every now and then, but I'm a hardcore moviegoer. But to
Got
get
you.
me to
Got
sit there and watch hours of streaming is to connect movies to your streaming movies. And you got me.
you. You're
So
right. You're right.
who's gonna lose me? HBO is probably gonna lose me, and Netflix might end up getting cut until
I
I
agree.
finish everything. And
I
then once I'm finished everything off of Disney, then I might add Netflix again. So that's where I think the game changing and the culture that we're looking at with the streaming wars, but still being connecting it to the theatrical releases, fucking genius. And if anybody out here, if y'all can't give Kevin Feige his props on how, in the Disney studio as a brand, their props right now, you just blind or you just
I
want to
agree.
hate for no reason.
I agree. I agree. Kevin
Because
Feige has a really good winning streak.
he
Um,
does. Everybody's waiting for that failure, and that's what pissed me off. Because why?
yeah.
Why?
They're recovering. I don't want to get into it. Nobody talks about the Inhumans. It's
You're
like it never
right.
happened. It's like it never happened.
Yeah.
It's like it
But
never
I
happened.
have I have my whole. One day we need to talk about the Netflix stuff, like as a whole,
Mhm.
and kind of my theory about that because I think people like to put the MCU and those Netflix series together. But I actually talked to someone who has a little bit more in depthness about that, and they are. I mean, it was a war going on behind closed doors, and we as the audience didn't get to see it.
Mm.
They
I
did a
can believe
great
that.
job of keeping that stuff kind of on. I mean, it never really broke out. It never has hit the mainstream or anything. What I heard. So we're gonna have to talk off another time. We mean
I'm
you're gonna
down
have
for
to
that.
talk about that.
I'm definitely down for
Okay.
that. All right, we're gonna go to November 6th, 2020, The Eternals, which they were talking about, like they were talking about it before the end of Phase 4. People were talking about the Eternals. I know Kevin Feige had dropped some little gems here and there. This is where I guess learning from the Inhumans, there's like we need to put big money behind it. This one has Angelina Jolie. It has Brian Tyree Henry from Atlanta. It has Salma Hayek. It has South Korean superstar Don Lee. Like they're really putting a lot of people behind it. So I'm not a fan of the Eternal. Let me take that back. I'm not a fan of the Eternal. I'm a fan of the Celestials, but I never really checked for the Eternals. But again, this is a big gamble, and I think it's going to pay off. For one thing, a lot of the characters, like Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek, is going to be playing characters that originally in the comic book were men. So I thought that's real interesting. They're going to be, that they're going to be replacing them.
Four of them. It's four of them.
Yes, four of them. Yes.
It's four of them because Sprite was a male character.
Yep.
And then also the one with the deaf woman, she's a speedster.
Yes.
Hers was a male character too.
Okay, you're right. Yep.
I am with you. I do not know the Eternals. That is one of the first comic runs of Jack Kirby's that I just really wasn't interested in because of some of the artwork. Because when I was younger and when certain things was going, it was all about what popped to my eyes. The title of the comic and what the actual visuals were. And I didn't quite like the run that I saw. And I found out it wasn't Jack Kirby's rendition. It was a whole nother artist. And I didn't like it. So it turned me off from the Eternals altogether. So what I'm going to be doing in the next week is literally reading the Eternals. Anything that they were in their own comic run. They only got 3 comic runs.
Yeah, they only have 3.
Yeah, and I think the first 2 were only 12 issues and the last one was 14 issues. So I'm going to binge those. I don't think I'm gonna go buy them, but I'm gonna go on Comics Island and read them virtually. And I'm with you.
And they showed up in the Incredible Hercules story arc.
Okay, that's what somebody else said.
It's a 7-issue story arc with them. Yeah.
Okay, I am a fan of anything that anything with Greek mythology or the mythology is what probably is going to get me into it because I like mythology. So I'm ready to dive in, and I'm actually happy that it's introducing me and getting me to actually be interested in the comics because usually it was always the other way around. I already was familiar with them. Now this lineup is a whole group of people that I have no idea about. So I'm really interested to read those comics and, get invested. And so that way I can have a sensibility of what to look for. And then also give the fresh take that they're going to take on it. But, to give Jack Kirby's characters their own, I think you're right about them learning from the Inhumans. It's a lot of drama going on saying that this is their way of trying to beat DC to the punch because they were going to do the New Gods, and that's a Jack Kirby run too.
Yes, yeah.
And he went back and forth from DC and Marvel quite a bit. That was just the business back then. But it always something where people, and hey, for all we know, they might be Kevin Feige saying, we're going to do the Internals before you guys even get New Guys up running. So yeah, I'm just going to sit back and see what they do with it because I didn't think Guardians was going to work theatrically, but they
as much as a fan of I am of the Guardians on the Dan Abnett, I didn't think they were going to be well commercial wise, but I was looking forward to seeing it because I'm a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy under Dan Abnett, not the original Guardians of the Galaxy, the 3000, but the Dan Abnett Guardians I was a big fan of. So I was really shocked they were going to do that. But with the Eternals, I think this gives the MCU an opportunity to retcon a couple of things that I actually retconning.
Okay.
But the reason why I liked them in the comic books is because it was overwhelmingly confusing. It was just confusing.
Yeah.
So that's what I didn't like about it.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to, change the game and for those who are confused, maybe, things make more sense. Yeah. And for us who don't know or have a clue, when it will understand it and be confused all at the same time. We'll
All right.
see.
We're gonna go to February 12th, 2021. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and the Ten Rings were the terrorist group that Tony Stark faced in the first Iron Man. They're the people that kidnapped him, and they're actually gonna introduce the real Mandarin, and then of course the hero will be Shang-Chi. And Shang-Chi was in the 70s. He was like a spin-off of Bruce Lee. And then he's been under Brian Michael Bendis. They brought him back into the Avengers, and he played a big part in the Avengers. Actually, under Brian Michael Bendis, and then they brought him under Jonathan Hickman, brought him into the main Avengers group. So and that's when I really started to like him. Back in the day, I was like, oh, he's just a Bruce Lee bite. But I'm glad they're doing this movie. What do you think about it?
I let me see. First of all, I am a huge. I love all three Iron Man movies. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm not apologetic about it.
Mhm.
Yes, he was my favorite character of the MCU, and it's going to be interesting to see if somebody can, come close to that. Doctor Strange is getting there, but we'll get to that. Um, I am glad that they can shut people up about getting the real Mandarin.
Yeah.
Um, I do not mind when they do flukes and fake things. I don't care about certain fake deaths. Those things don't bother me. But people are driving it to the ground because every time I hear what they don't like about a certain movie, it's
Yeah.
always they don't like the fact that how they did the Mandarin. So I'm glad people are getting it. And I said, now that you guys are getting it, shut the fuck up because now I don't want to hear nothing. They're giving you the real Mandarin, the the Ten Rings situation, martial arts. I hope they
Yes.
do a great job. I like the fact that they are getting someone new and fresh, and
Mhm.
not the popular Asian martial arts person that most people were kind of going for. People were, Donnie Yen and Chin, whatever his name. I keep forgetting them. I'm not really familiar with all their names, but I know it was like some frontliners that people wanted to see, and they
Yeah.
got somebody who is new, who's not even been on that many projects, and I think that's awesome. I'm ready to see the story. I'm ready to see something different. I'm ready to see. Okay, we about to get some martial arts because, of course, people were upset about Iron Fist. So now this is their way of saying, oh, scrap Iron Fist. We have Chang. What's his name?
Shang-Chi.
Chang.
Shang-Chi. Yep.
And I'm all for it. I'm ready to see one, see what they do and how creative they get with it. Two, to see if they're gonna go back to those 1970-ish, 80s, really popular kung fu movies,
Yeah.
and they're gonna genre bend again, like they have done in the past. I want to see if they can do that and how well they can do it. But I think let's do it.
True.
And I love the cast. I love that they got my girl in there because she's like one of my favorite Asian um, actresses now. What's her name?
Is it Michelle Yeoh or
No, it's Aquafina. Um,
Aquafina? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Aquafina's
my
supposed to be in there. Yeah,
yeah.
Aquafina. Yep.
So they got Aquafina in there, and man, I really like her a lot. She's
And
she's
they're
growing on
putting
me every movie
they're
I see
putting
her.
they're putting star power behind this movie as well.
Well,
So
from China, right?
yeah,
The
yep.
dude
So
in Mandarin, he's really famous in China, not here
mhm.
in the. So we'll see how that works because they really trying to win China over. Even though China does like the MCU, I think they're trying to raise the bar on that.
Yeah. Um, and then another Disney Plus edition in spring 2021 is WandaVision. And they're gonna have, of course, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany as Wanda and Vision. And This one is actually, they're saying, is connecting to Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness, and she's actually going to show up in that film. But what's most interesting about this, because I'm not a big on the comic book, I never really liked Wanda and Vision together as a couple. I thought that was corny. But I want to watch this because it has Monica Rambeau in it as an adult. So I want to watch it for that, and then how it's connected to Doctor Strange. That's really how I want to see all that jump off.
All right. Um, the WandaVision thing, I think the title of it is a double. I think it's a double meaning. I like Spider-Man: Far From Home and Homecoming.
Yeah.
It's a double meaning. I think WandaVision is a double meaning. I think it was very creative. People are like, oh, that title is kind of corny. And I'm like, no, if you really go deep and you think about it, Wanda is hurt right now. You know, spoilers if you ain't seen Infinity War. But Wanda's hurting right now. And I think she is really going to create what was her biggest thing, power right now that we've seen, and that's her altering reality in, sort of way. She hasn't really used that power since Age of Ultron, where she dipping into people's, you know, realities and making them see different visions and stuff like that. I think the word vision, it embodies Vision the character, but it also embodies her powers being amped up with her
Okay.
creating alternate realities. And I think that's how it's going to tie in, because what is Doctor Strange's job is to protect our reality. And
Yes.
when Wanda starts messing with reality, that's when he got to step in. So I really do think she's going to end up being an antagonist to his story. And it's going to be more so of, trying to get her to come back and realize that Vision is gone. But she's going to create this world where this imaginary reality where Vision is there. And that's why we're going to see Paul Bettany. So that's kind of where I always had that idea just off of the title alone. When they announced it a
Okay.
long time ago, I always said, this is how I think this story is going to go. And I'm going to see if I'm right or I might be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, that's a good prediction. I
We'll
ain't think
see.
about it like that. It makes sense about Doctor Strange. It makes sense about her powers. And on the comic book, they deal with that consistently. How her powers are
Yeah.
really dangerous. So I didn't think about it like that. I honestly, now you really got my interest peaked. Like you really now I really want to see how this plays out. Instead of just the
Yeah,
camera.
because I'm like, I know they're just not gonna just throw us Vision, and
Mhm.
it gotta be Wanda creating him in her mind and everybody else's too, because she want him to be a reality, and it's not
Yes.
gonna just affect her own. It's gonna end up affecting the entire galaxy in some type of way, or the universe. And I think that's where we're gonna really see it tie into Doctor Strange. So I'm really excited about that. So as far as Disney shows or the streaming stuff, I'm excited for WandaVision for that
Cool.
alone.
Cool. Again on Disney Plus, spring 2021, Loki, and I'm super excited about that. So, and again, Tom Hiddleston comes back, and he's gonna be jumping around different dimensions because he got the space stone. So, what do you think about that?
Yes, and I want to see. This one. I really have my own vision, and I'm gonna be a little heartbroken if it don't work. But I want to see them go on some quantum leap type shit. We
Okay.
haven't seen anything where they've done something like the Quantum Leap television show was, where he went back to different time periods, changed time, where he jumped back to all the different, time periods. And but with Loki, remember we don't got the growth Loki. We got the sinister sneaky Loki, 2014 Loki. So I think he's
Yes.
gonna go around in time and actually manipulate it our events of the past or the future or the present, and kind of make things how he wanted to be. So if he want to go back to the Egyptian time, where he want to be king or whatever, he'll make that happen. Because remember how he's such a trickster with Thor Ragnarok, how he was pretending to be Odin, and how he enjoyed pretending to be somebody powerful even though it wasn't him himself. I think they're gonna play off of that. So
And I
I'm
want to
looking
and I
for
want to
a
say
little
real quick.
quantum.
I want to say real quick. He has the space stone, not the time stone. So
I know.
yeah. So
I know.
I don't think he'd be able to go back. He'd be able to move dimensions and stuff like that, but not like
But
time.
that's why I say he might not go back in time in a past like we see time in the past. But if he goes around to different worlds, you know, he go on different planets, he
True.
could do something like that.
I agree. I,
The stones to me still to this day haven't really been fully explained. So we
you're
don't
right. They
know
haven't been
all.
they haven't been fully fleshed out.
Exactly. We don't know exactly what he's gonna do with the space stone, but I'm just thinking quantum leap type stuff. It might not be time, but it might be space manipulation.
Got you.
Hell,
Got you.
yeah.
So here we're gonna go to your the one you're excited about, May 21st, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And Kevin Feige stated that this is going to be like their first horror movie. And actually, the terminology he was saying was there's going to be some real scary stuff, like some skin crawling stuff, in this movie. So it's going to be the first one. So that's what everybody's talking about. So I'm really super interested in this one. What do you? I know again you're excited about this. So
Mhm. All right, so let me go ahead and address the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is horror don't always mean gore.
of course, of
Horror
course, of
does
course.
not always mean a whole bunch of just crazy deaths and what I'm saying, jump scares. There's more to horror than just those two things, and a lot of people get that mixed up
Yeah,
because somebody did yell. I was watching the little streaming thing. Somebody did yell, "Well, is it gonna be, you know, PG-13?" And of course, it's gonna be PG-13. But I just want to read some PG-13, to me, good horror film.
hmm
A Quiet Place,
of course.
uh, Insidious,
hmm
almost three of the Exorcist movies, the others, The Sixth Sense. I, I jumped on The Sixth Sense, and I think it had a lot of horror elements, and things like that. So, Happy Death Day, which was awesome. It was, so there's some things we can do with horror, on a PG-13 scale, but it's all about the storytelling and what we do with the horror
Oh,
elements. So
I,
I
I
believe.
agree. I agree. And those movies you mentioned, like they they actually had a bigger effect on me after I watched it.
Exactly.
Like I thought about some of the things, and I was like, oh wow, like that's really like deep. It wasn't because I'm not into like the gory stuff. I'm not into the like jumping. I'm not into that. I'm into the stuff that makes me really think like, wow, really makes me wonder, and
Yep.
question morality, all those things. And I think that's what this movie's gonna
That's
do.
what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want from Doctor Strange. I want it to be the type of horror where it is trippy, it's crazy, it has you wondering, damn, what if this really existed? What, what I'm saying? Really, I mean, I've seen horror dolls. You ever like the horror movie Dolls? It was craziness
Yeah, I didn't see
just
that. I didn't see that one.
oh my god, it's just dolls. And it's like it's one of the most scariest things for me. And it's all about some damn dolls. And you don't even get to really see them. The scariest part ain't about them jumping on you and maybe biting your face off. The scariest part is that we can have dolls in our house at any point,
Anytime. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it makes you question if these dolls might come available. I'm looking at a doll right now while we talk. And it's just those type of things. I want to be tripped out. I want to see them do some really crazy and interesting things that we haven't seen. And I think by calling it the multiverse of madness, it just really just had me geeked. I mean, that was the announcement where I was like, I just geeked out completely because I was like, I'm not even a horror person.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
I'm not, I don't even like looking at the genre and somebody take me to a movie, tell me the title. Long as it don't got the word horror in the title, you better tell me this is a thriller suspense movie. And I'll go in it thinking it's a thriller suspense and then I get horrified. Those are the type of movies I'll go for, the suspenseful horror or thriller horror, but I want to be tripped out at the same time. But as a fan, I gotta support it, even though I'm really not a horror person. I mean,
Exactly. Exactly.
it chapter two is only getting me because my friend dragged me to see the first it, and I liked it. Other than that, I don't go see scary movies. I don't go see horror films that often. So for the MCU to get me invested and interested, that's saying a lot because I usually don't go for those. So I'm really excited for that. I'm so hyped, and the fact that it's tying into WandaVision. So
Mhm. Now,
I can't wait.
the one that I really was excited about when I heard them announce it, I was really geeked out because it's one of my favorite comics. Is summer 2021 is the What If on Disney Plus. And Jeffrey Wright will be playing Uatu the Watcher. He'll be narrating this series. And this one is an animated series. It's not a
Mm,
live action.
yep.
But they're saying it's part of the MCU universe. And the first story is what if Peggy Carter had the super soldier serum. So
Mm.
I'm really excited about it, how they're gonna go from here. And this is where a lot of the multiverse stuff comes from, the what if original what if stories. So I'm super looking forward to this, and I'm very excited. And I'm glad that it's going to be on Disney Plus.
Listen, after seeing Into the Spider Verse, I have not wanted more animated films in this genre than ever before. So I'm just excited about that it's animated and that we'll be getting um, known people who have been to voice these characters. I think that's another great way to keep people kind of tied in, even if their characters are dead in the MCU, to get these what if stories and them possibly voicing a character in this universe. I think that's great. Give me the animated. I'm all for it. Another genius way to get me to subscribe to Disney.
Yes, yes, yes. Yep, yep. And then Disney Plus continues. There you go. Another reason to do it is in fall 2021 is the Hawkeye story, and it's gonna bring in Kate Bishop, and the Hawkeye. Clint Barton will be training her to be the new Hawkeye. And it's a story that I love in the comic book. It's a really dope
Mm.
story I love in the comic book. So I'm looking forward to seeing it on Disney Plus.
And this is going to be interesting because the Clint Barton we have is not the traditional Hawkeye we have in the comics. So
Exactly.
him having a family and all that, I'm really interested to see how they're gonna kind of connect this and how that story comes about in the first place. So the fact that it's on Disney Plus, that's perfect because as a movie, I wouldn't have been too interested in it, but because it's gonna have build up, we're gonna have hours of content to build up to what's going on. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued
Exactly.
on the storytelling aspect and the character development. I don't care how much of a supporting character Hawkeye is. He's still a dope character if he's
Agreed.
written correctly.
Agreed.
Um, if he's written correctly and you go off of the strength of his character that has been built from what we take from the comics and what we have in the MCU, we really can. And maybe this is how they introduce the Young Avengers, which I'm all for. I'm
Yes.
all,
Yeah. The rumors are for the Young Avengers. Yep.
yeah.
Um.
I I don't doubt we're not going to get them
I
in the
agree.
Phase
I,
5.
in
You know,
Phase
some.
5, I agree. I agree.
Hmm.
November 5th, 2021. Thor: Love and Thunder. They bring back Jane Foster. Played by Natalie Portman.
Hmm.
And there's rumors that it's going to be like Thor in the comic book, Jane Foster will be Thor. That's the rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. So what do you think about that? About that, the Thor: Love and Thunder.
I think that title is whack, but I didn't. I didn't like none of the Thor's titles, but I liked some. I liked Thor Ragnarok, and I was like, "What the hell is a Ragnarok?" And then then I read, what it was. But I never, I don't like the title.
Okay.
However, titles are just marketing tools, so whatever. Um, I don't. I didn't like Natalie Portman for what she said about the MCU early on, but the fact that she's coming back tells me a lot. It tells me that Disney will, when they fuck up, they will apologize and make up for it. So, we kind of seen that with the James Gunn situation. Um, and it also let me know that they don't like having bad rapport with kind of A-list actors. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
they consider you A-list and all that, I don't mind her being another version of Thor. I don't mind that. If they play off together, that would be so cool. As long as they don't undermine Thor himself for her,
Mhm.
I won't be pissed off. If they make them more of a tag team and she just so happened to be worthy to, Will Milner or whatever, and he has, he now has a Stormbreaker, and they can kind of play off together, and they have a really good cohesive story. I I'm just shocked that this is a movie
Yes.
because
Yes.
where the hell do she come in at?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Been
I
gone
agree.
since For the Dark World.
Let me just say this. Jason Aaron's run on Thor is probably the best run since Walter Simonson.
Hmm.
Um, Now I love Taiki Waititi. I really love him, and I trust him. I trust his vision. The rumor is that she really wanted Natalie Portman really wanted to work with Taiki Waititi. So I really trust him. I'm like you. I don't know how it's gonna fit all that in there in a 2.5 hour movie, but I
Hmm.
really trust his vision. And I'm assuming that the Disney Plus stuff is gonna fill in a lot of things that we're wondering about.
Okay.
Um, I think for all the movies, the Disney Plus stuff is gonna fill in things that they don't have to put into the movies.
Hmm. And which,
That's
like I
that's
said, would be genius. Would be
yes.
genius. And another thing I had about this is not only how she's gonna fit into the story since she hasn't been around for a while,
Mhm.
but also um I know Taiki Waititi has a good story. I trust him like you do.
Yeah.
But my thing is visually, how is she about to transform to where it's convincing to me? I
No,
just
I feel you. I feel you. And the
not
thing
saying you
about
gotta
the thing
keep
about
up,
Jason Aaron's run, the thing
you
about
know.
Jason Aaron's run is that there's like three story arcs that you have to read before you see how Jane Foster becomes Thor.
Right.
Right? It's like all this background before you get to her being Thor that explains why Odin's son is in his situation, and then Jason Aaron ends it. So I think it's too much to put in a 2.5 hour movie, and the only
Right.
way I can see it is that the Disney Plus stories kind of flesh it out for us. It has
Why
to.
ain't something plus? But yeah, I was like, this should have been on Disney Plus. That was the only movie that they announced where I said this should be on Disney Plus. And
Exactly.
I was like, because then you have like 6 hours to flesh it out and
Mhm.
get us to understand why she is worthy all of a sudden, And how the hell are y'all gonna? Is she still gonna have the Infinity Stone in her blood system? Like I don't know, but I was just all confused, and this is the only one where I literally took notes and was started writing all these questions. I had so many questions, I just had to ball it up and say, you know what, I'm just gonna have to go with it and see where they're going with this because I have no clue.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's all we have. Unless you want to add anything else for this is for phase
But
four. We're not going to get into phase five. We
well,
probably got to
gotta
the
we
date.
gotta address the fact that they announced Mahershala Ali as Blade.
Okay, I'm all for it. I knew they wasn't gonna bring back Wesley. I knew they wasn't gonna bring back. I knew that. Like I know Wesley was in talks with them, but I knew they were not gonna bring back Wesley as Blade. I knew it. So
And how he pulled the ultimate just power move because he called Kevin Feige and told
yes,
Kevin Feige he wants to play Blade. And the
yes,
fact that he's a 2-time Academy Award winner, he done accomplished what he needed to accomplish. So for him to say, I want to be in these big films and I want to play Blade, I just thought that was just dope. I was like, oh, that's how you be a A-lister right there. So
yes,
you pick your project versus the project's picking you.
exactly.
And I thought that I just want to let everybody know, I do think Blade is going to be in phase 4. I just think it's still in kind of works. There's a reason why they brought him out during the phase 4 announcements to announce that he was Blade. Kevin Feige don't do shit just for nothing. He ain't talk about really nothing else in phase 5, but you specifically got Mahershala Ali to come to Comic
To come to
Con
the Comic Con, yeah.
and announce that he's Blade, and we're not getting Blade in phase 4. Oh, I doubt. I think that's going to end phase 4 with the Blade, and I do think Blade will be a post-credit scene after Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange's movie.
I can believe that. No, the reason why I think it's going to be in phase 5 is that phase 5 is going to hit us with, Black Panther 2, Cap. Like he's going to just all home runs. Like
I said,
phase 5 is going to be all home runs.
But he could have saved that until D23, where he's going to talk more about phase 5. Why do it at Comic-Con?
You're right. No, you're right. I forgot about that con. I really did forget that con. My bad.
Yes.
So yeah.
So, Disney is really trying to replace their Comic-Con presence. They'll always still be present, but they want that D23 Expo to really start popping.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why they save a lot of their gritty stuff when they do D23, and that's in August. So we'll be getting more, you guys. So we'll be back on here talking about the new announcements that we're gonna get, and more information and more casting that we're gonna see when D23 comes the middle of August.
You're right. I completely forgot. And it's more cons. There's more cons after that. So you're right. You're right. You're right about that. I wasn't thinking about that. But that's going to conclude our episode. And I definitely want if you can put your other social media information. You say you have something you want to reveal or you want to hold on to your cards. I don't know.
No, I just want to let everybody know my new Twitter is Go Big Girls Go. So it's Go Big Girls with a U. Go. It's my Twitter. I'm also One Shadow Love _ on Instagram. And you can even follow me on Snapchat, which is Slim Shadow. And of course my YouTube, y'all hit me up on YouTube. I've been traveling a lot for this new gig that I got. Okay. So I gotta start getting back on my stuff on my YouTube. And I'm gonna start making some really short videos, like 5-minute, 10-minute videos, because my videos be so long.
Yeah, and and what I've learned is that with the competition out there, you want to keep it short.
Keep it short, but kind of concise and get to the point. And so I'm gonna start making shorter videos so I can get my more thoughts out that way. And post and repost and all that. So holla at your girl. I'll be doing that in the weeks to come.
Well, once again, thank you so much. I'm gonna put all that information in the show notes. You're always dope to have. You always when I finish interviewing you, I always be like, man, I ain't even think about that shit, and I go back and start thinking about things, and actually sometimes changing my opinions. So
yeah, and that's the whole point of having these collaboration with other people who are into the same things as you that might not always agree, but we could all kind of we kind of bounce off of each other. That's the whole thing about fandom that I love and I enjoy, and I enjoy it every time. So that's why I'm always down to do your show. I'm
Oh, thank
always
you
down.
so much. Thank you. So once again, always, ladies and gentlemen, this is When My Killer Tape At, and we will see you later. And there you have it, party people. Episode 76 of Where My Killer Tape At. If you want to book me for panel discussions or workshops, or you just want me to run my mouth, you can send it to my email, DanTresOmi@gmail.com. That's DanTresOmi. Make sure in the subject heading you put bookings. You could hit me up on the official Twitter for the show, which is Omi's Podcast, OMIS Podcast, or my personal Twitter, which is usually lit as fuck, at DanTresOmi, DanTresOmi. Thank you very much, party people, once again for joining us. It was a long one, but you're going to definitely enjoy it. And we out. Peace.